Beyond the Bylines, Tim Benz and Joe Starkey with you here at the Trib Live Facebook Live feed and on YouTube at Trib Sports. Glad that you're with us. Joe, I'm going to start right in, okay? I'm going to dive right in because we're on a tight time limit here, okay? Like
Okay.
we have a hard out. I've got to city limits you on this one.
Okay.
We've got to get out by 8:25 today. And this time it's my fault. I don't have to walk to work like you, but I've got somewhere else. I got another link I got to be in at 8:30.
Because that always works when City Limits tries to keep me in a time frame. But go ahead, try.
Exactly.
Give it your best shot.
We'll do what we can. So I have to ask you a question. This is a little bit personal to start as we go with upon further review. We're actually going to start off with the Steelers grades from yesterday from the NFLPA. Of the 18 different colleges that you attended, at any point did you ever get an F- in a category in a class like Art Rooney just did?
Yeah, not enough toilets in one of the classrooms, I think, at one point. How are there only 5 toilets for an entire football team? Come on, Art. At least give me 8. Give me 11.
Is this in the facility?
The offense has toilets.
Is this at Acrisure Stadium? Which locker room are we talking about? Do you know?
I think it was the practice facility, unless I'm mistaken. I don't know. Art's getting grades like I did at Cortland State.
Well, I can tell you this much. With all the giant turds that the players have been leaving in the playoffs since 2016, they need more than 5 toilets.
I'll leave that line alone. That's an early winner. This is embarrassing. I mean, I don't think it affects really anything on the field. I don't. Miami got the best grades. That's all you need to know. But it's a total embarrassment for Art. It's a blight on the organization that this happens every year. And this is his worst year yet. 5 toilets.
And then why, despite this is not the first year in a row on these grades that they've gotten poorly graded. This has happened repeatedly now, a number of years in a row. Frankly, since these things became public, we've seen a lot of this, especially as it relates to the facilities, especially as it relates to Rooney as an owner. Why then do the players themselves parrot year in and year out, oh, how great it is to be part of the Rooney family and how great it is to be in a family-run team like the Steelers, when obviously they're painfully disingenuous about it?
Right, and that's part of why it's embarrassing, because the Steelers like to portray themselves as this family-friendly mom and pop shop where we go the extra mile to take care of our players. And it's like a college atmosphere where this goes on, from year to year and generation to generation. Meanwhile, you have Joey Porter Jr. taking pot shots at everybody in sight and everybody else doing it too. And then these F- come out. And I don't know whether it's the practice facility or the stadium. Maybe there's 9 toilets in one place and 8 in the other, so they can go 9 and 8 again. I don't know. The whole thing is an embarrassment.
Another perception that is not reality, but within the walls of the locker room, maybe it became that. And when I say walls within the locker room, obviously I don't mean walls between the stalls, because there's not enough of those. But the walls within the locker room is that these players, much like some national media members and some fans, especially those outside of Pittsburgh, they think Tomlin was the glue holding this thing together.
Jay Glazer does, yeah.
I don't think that. I don't think you think that. I don't think a lot of fans who've watched the Steelers on a weekly basis since 2016 think that. But there is a perception that appears to me that the players themselves feel like this was held together by Tomlin. And I wonder how that's going to go this year now that Tomlin's gone.
Just wait till they go 8 and 9. You'll have a national state of emergency declared, and he'll be reinstated immediately, so they can go 9 and 8 instead. And that might happen this year. 8 and 9 or worse. We can only hope, right? So they get a chance to get a quarterback. But I think you're right. That's the perception in a lot of places. And God forbid they ever have that non-losing, what the hell's it called? A non-losing streak. You can't even say what it is.
It's because you're manufacturing it so hard to say it. That's why.
Right? It's like the Antonio Brown 6 catches and 50-yard streak. I saw a Coward, what was it, a couple months ago, say the team with the longest non-losing, or maybe in the NBA it's winning streak, the team with the longest yearly winning streak is the LA Clippers. Where has that gotten them?
It's a great point, and I do think it's an apples to apples comp there because you're talking about sustained pretty good. You're never talking about elite championship status, and they've
right.
Collection
Steelers equal Clippers. It says.
Oh my God, I was a huge Clippers fan.
How dare we insult the Clippers that way? What?
What's that? I was a huge Clippers fan, like in the early 90s, late 80s when they had Charles Smith, because Charles Smith was my favorite player growing up.
Yeah.
What a roster they had back then. Gary Grant running the point, Stanley Roberts, John Williams. Who else did they have?
Kenny Norman.
Kenny Norman for a while they had. Right, sure. Ron Harper.
They're the old Buffalo Braves, so I have to like them. The LA Clippers.
Danny Manning was there for a while.
Danny Manning led him to the playoffs.
Garrick Thomas out of the University of Rhode Island.
Stop.
They had so many fun players. And like that team, remember they took like Akeem Olajuwon and Karl Malone in back-to-back years to a decisive Game 5, and they lost both Game 5s. That's
I know.
Not as far as they ever got with Charles Smith before he went to the Knicks.
I never dreamed we'd be diving into LA Clippers history, but I like it.
But you brought it up, and that I think actually is an analogy I probably should have thought of earlier, knowing the history of the Clippers a little bit too.
Were you at the hockey game last night?
I was at the hockey game last night for Jack Hughes Mania.
Tell me about that. What happened? I saw that there was a huge ovation. The game was incredible. The Penguins just turned it up 10 notches at the beginning of the third period. It seems like there's something special happening there. I know Andrew Filipponi brought up yesterday on his show that I think the Penguins, in terms of percentage capacity, are second last in the NHL this year, wondering where are the people. I think that's going to start to change. I haven't been in the building, but the vibes I get from watching it, you tell me, Tim, are that people are starting to get pumped on this and that the vibe is changing in that building. Yes?
It definitely did last night. Now, obviously, there was some artificial inflation because people were there for the Jack Hughes moment as much as they were the return of the hockey team, especially without Sid. I think they wanted to be there to applaud for Crosby, but I think a lot of people who were there last night remember the Ryan Miller thing from back in 2010 and wanted to be a part of that again because we've talked about that a lot since 2010. It was a moment of pride to be there, and the same circumstances aligned perfectly. I guess the only difference is Miller, his first actual game back was Pittsburgh, unlike Hughes, who did have one in New Jersey the night before. But the point is still taken. This was his first game on the road, and he was treated like a conquering hero. It didn't quite have the pop that Miller did, to be quite honest with you. I think the Penguins sold it harder with Miller the first time around. I don't know how that went over with some of the guys in the Canadian roster. I don't know how that went over with Crosby, or if they felt a little delicate about it because Crosby got injured and they didn't want to hard sell it quite as much because of those circumstances. But they sold it enough. And, the traction that I've been seeing online from Hughes' comments, I'm looking at my mentions before we got on here, Joe, and people think that Kyle Dubas has to act now to trade for Jack Hughes because he never wants to leave Pittsburgh. Can you imagine the Devils traded Jack Hughes right now?
He'll get the same reception in St. Louis and everywhere else. I thought that was pretty cool. I saw that right before we came on the air, actually, in your story at the Trib, which is a tremendous story today, Tim. You're everywhere as usual. But I felt it even before the break that there were games where the energy popping off that screen just felt different. There is something special brewing here. That's what it feels like to me. And here's the goal. Going into last night's game, there were 26 games left. The Penguins, I think, needed about 25 or 26 points. That's what they need, is to average a point a game to secure a playoff spot. And that's 2 in the bag. And they better beat Sully's Rangers. And now you're down to 22. So that should be the goal here without Sid, is to clip along at a point per game. And they just bought themselves another little bit of wiggle room by getting 2 last night. That was good and impressive.
How about Dan Muse? He's already passed Herb Brooks.
For what?
Penguins wins.
What?
Herbie had 29 wins in his one season with the Pens. He only coached 58 games. People forget that. It was only like part of one season. It wasn't even a full season.
Okay, so who looks more like Dan Muse and Joe Block or the mayor and Kyle Dubas? Which is the better doppelganger?
They're both indistinguishable. And something else I noticed last night, the DJ that they have playing at intermissions is a second doppelganger for Kyle Dubas.
What?
He looks just like him.
So there's 3 Kyle Dubases. No wonder
there's multiple Dubai. There are
job.
Dubai everywhere.
Yeah, Dubai. No wonder he's doing so well.
Chinikov is the guy that they need to clone. My God, can you get another one of him somewhere?
Wow. And then Malkin, again, without Sid, comes up with a multiple point night.
He was excellent, I thought, when it came to adjusting his game to be a setup guy for Chinikov, and also, like, he doesn't have to drive the line as from the center position because Novak is doing that to a large degree.
And doing it quite well. They almost had a miraculous goal off a face-off last night. It's just fun to watch, Tim. Our timing is clearly off today. I keep jumping in on you. You're jumping in on me. That hasn't been a problem yet.
It hasn't been. Maybe I'm just fired up and excited.
It just happened again. This is unbelievable. We need to be like Chinikov and Novak. What's happening this week?
You want to go back to the Steelers? I want one more thing on the Steelers before we get too far away from them.
What does your hat say?
My hat?
Yeah.
It's an NHL Hall of Fame hat.
Have you been to the NHL Hall of Fame?
Sorry, the Pro Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto, yes.
That's okay. You've been there?
I have been there, yeah.
Did you get on the one feature that you can make the call on the Mario goal from Gretzky at the World Cup or whatever that was, where you can make the call and then replay it and hear your voice on it?
I've seen that. I didn't do it myself. It felt a little hokey.
I thought it was fun.
No, it is. It is fun for somebody who's never done it before.
So if you're a play-by-play guy, it's not good enough for you.
Well, it just feels weird to do it. It just feels weird. I don't know what to say. It feels awkward to go in there and do it like, somebody else has done it before. I feel like you're just going to copy whatever somebody else has done. Like when they have the miracle in high school, how do you not morph into, do you believe in miracles at some point? What are you going to do to dress that up and put your own spice on it? Like, how do you dress up Al Michaels?
I know, but that wasn't the one. It was Gretzky to Lemieux. But
I thought you could choose your own, couldn't you?
I don't know. Please proceed.
They do that at the Steelers Hall of Honor Museum, too. Like, you can call Palomalu's interception against Flacco. You can call the Immaculate Reception. You can call the Santonio Holmes catch.
Can you count the number of toilets at the practice facility?
It doesn't take long. There might be more in the Hall of Honor than there is in the locker room.
What if they had a feature where you could flush one of them? That would be incredible.
The best thing about their grades is at least they graded well when it came to the food. Because what if the food was bad and the toilets were worse?
Somebody got an A. Who, the trainer?
Was it the chef? I thought it was the chef. Am I wrong on that?
Maybe the chef. Somehow the strength and conditioning or the facility got an F, but the trainer himself got an A.
Well, the strength coaches always do well in these grades.
Yeah.
The other thing that I thought was funny from that is, like, Omar got a C+. And another thing about Rooney, by the way, all they've done is give money to who has ever asked for money, except for Boz yet, and they still might do that. And by the way, they should do that sooner rather than later if Brandon Aubrey's asking for $10 million.
You're right about that.
But, it's kind of funny to me that everybody's complaining about the front office, the ownership, and the management, and all they've done is get paid. Everybody who wants to get paid gets paid.
Well, that's why this thing really doesn't relate to the football team on the field. At least, do you think so? I don't. Like I said, all you need to know is the Miami Dolphins had the best grades. It's just about sort of the reputation and the image they want to portray doesn't match up with the report card. It's not a report card Art's going to hang on the refrigerator at home. I can tell you that.
I also think it speaks very poorly of the players for deflecting the blame and sloughing off why they've underachieved. And I do think it's a talking point that needs to be highlighted that here we are looking at all this blame being heaped upon management. Like we talked about before, how the perception is that Tomlin kept the whole thing together. I do think, and I don't know when these grades were handed out by the players. I don't know when the NFLPA sent these out, like kind of in line with when Tomlin's resignation was announced. I would imagine, since it took so many people by surprise within the locker room, I guess, that these grades were handed out before the players knew that Tomlin was resigning. For those that stuck around, I've gotten this sense ever since Tomlin stepped down that there is a feeling within that locker room that Rooney didn't do enough to keep him. And I bet there's extended resentment because of that.
That's an interesting take. Do you believe that Omar Khan really tried to keep him there, like Omar said the other day? I don't. I think Omar's enjoying his newfound freedom. I went back and looked at that Ben quote from a while back where he basically said, Mike Tomlin can deny it all he wants. He's the most powerful man in that organization. And he's, quote, way above Omar. So I'm not so sure that Omar really wanted Mike to stay around and continue to be his boss and make most of the important football decisions. Do you?
He's gotten the pay raise to be the GM. He's gotten the title. Man, that was a comfortable buffer. That was a comfortable buffer. You know, he might not want it for the reasons you point out, but he's going to miss it when it's gone because at some point he's next in line, and maybe that point is right now because I also think he had a major hand in hiring McCarthy because he likes McCarthy.
Absolutely.
If that goes awry, that also shines on Omar. Now, to your original question about whether or not do I believe it, like if he did it, I don't think he did it in the same room with Art because Art said that he didn't try to keep him because he seemed sold that Mike really wanted to leave. And remember, he said he was willing to run it back one more year, but he wasn't so willing that he would answer the question directly about he was going to give Tomlin his extra year on his option. He didn't say that, did he?
No, he did not. And I believe you were on that case at the news conference. Benzie off the top rope once again.
Would you pay $30 million a year for Malik Willis at quarterback?
Not that. When this first came out, it was like 10 million. Then it went to 2 years and 30 million. I'm like, all right, that's about where I'll draw the line. Then it became 30 million a year. That's a little too rich. I would take a shot at him, but not for that kind of money. You?
I don't think it has to go that high. But then again, I remind myself that the Jets paid $20 million a year for Fields and the cap has gone up. I don't know if the inflation has to be $10 million per season over one offseason. That seems to be a little dramatic to me, especially because you could even argue that Justin Fields had a better resume than Malik Willis did.
Hey, it's a product of the dearth, and I know you like that word, of good quarterback prospects in free agency, the trade market, and even the draft. I mean, Ty Simpson, the reason he came out, he had tons of NIL money waiting for him. The reason he's in the draft is because hardly anybody else is. And Malik Willis has taken advantage of that same kind of scarcity in the quarterback market. He's going to wind up getting $30 million a year.
I don't have a problem with the money so much as a lot of people do, because I look at it this way, Joe, as the Jets have proven with Fields, you know, if you decide he is your best option for quarterback next year, especially if they come to the conclusion that Rodgers isn't coming back and they want to go with Willis, then you have him, you try him for a year. If it works out, great. Then you've got him kind of at a bargain rate if he proves to be a good starter. And then if he doesn't, well, you've only got him on the books for one more year, and your next quarterback is going to be a rookie entry-level contract anyway. I mean, at some point, you're going to have to pay for a quarterback, whether it's a good one or a bad one. They can't keep getting – and by the way, when they've had all these quarterbacks at the Trubisky rate, the reduced Ben rate going back to 2021 in his last year, what you just got from Russ, what you just got from Fields, what you just got from Rodgers for a year. You've had all this extra cap space because you haven't been paying a quarterback. What have you done with it? What has manifested with the extra cap space?
I mean, at least they brought in Jonnu Smith. What are you complaining about? You know what? You just convinced me on Willis. You're right. With inflation and the cap going up, if I think he's a good idea at 20 million, why not 30? I agree with every syllable you just said.
Yeah, especially with the increase in room that they've got. And, you know, you have money coming off the books soon, eventually with Cam and, eventually with TJ.
He may bargain as part of his contract for his own private bathroom stall over there. since there's only 5.
To use your vernacular, Joe, what if there are more blowouts in the Steelers locker room than there have been in the playoffs?
Is it true that there's no walls to the stalls?
Oh, I didn't. No, I was joking about that.
Okay.
I was joking. Like, no, it's not like, Full Metal Jacket or anything.
Open air crapping like a Pittsburgh toilet, like in the middle of a basement. What do they just have toilets dug out of the ground over there?
Know, you tell me, you're the one that went to 1137 Greenfield Avenue. Did McCarthy have a Pittsburgh toilet?
I'm surprised they don't just have outhouses where these guys go at this point. Art pays for a shack where they all go.
They walk outside, they go across the walking trail by the Steelers facility and just take a dump in the Mon. River waste floating down to the point. Oh no, it's chilly again at the Steelers facility. What have they done?
My God, Bob Nutting never looked so good when you look at Art's cheapness. What is happening here?
Well, actually, I saw Pony's tweet that had like odds. I don't know if it was odds to win a championship or odds to make the championship or whatever. But the Penguins are the most narrow odds. The Pirates were after that, and then the Steelers had the longest odds of the 3 teams in the city, which is just unbelievable. Seeing as how the Pirates play just down the road, that's wild,
horrifying. What's next?
I got one for you here. Speaking of the Pirates. Did you hear the call from my former co-host in Boston on the Nesson broadcast of Connor Griffin's second home run, Lou Merlone? Did you hear his call?
No, I don't think I did.
I think the Nesson game was on in Pittsburgh. I know the clip went everywhere. But
what did he say? What was notable about it?
His home run call in the second one, the 440-foot bomb that went to left center, not the one that went over the redone Green Monster in Fort Myers, but the one that went to center field or left center field. He was laughing as the ball was leaving the bat because it just flew out of the stadium so far. And he said,
Go ahead.
And he said, they're talking about him maybe making the team. He should be batting third.
I did see that quote. I saw the quote. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, man, that was Lou, who I did a show with in Boston for the year I was out there.
I think he's right. Although I've said on the air, so I won't say differently here, that I'm not gonna be outraged if he's not here for 3 weeks. But anything longer than that, especially if he hits a AAA, I think I'll be okay with, because I don't think it would be for business reasons. I honestly believe that there's concern about AA straight to the majors, and that it would just be a little warm-up ramp like the one that Schemes got. It is rare to do that. Having said that, do I want him here? Of course, right from the beginning. And if he is here, should he bat third or first where I want him? Abso-bucking-lutely, yes.
Well, that's going to be my Trib treat, because we got to move this along, because like I said, we got a hard out coming out here. I'm getting ready to city limits you right out of the out of the chat room. So what's your Trib treat for today?
The creator of the Mazeroski statue. I did an interview with her. Her name is Susan Wagner, no relation to Hannes. She created the Mazeroski statue, Stargell and Clementi, along with numerous other works around town. And, you know, when Maz passed away last weekend, there were so many different angles that were covered, so many tributes pouring in. And I got to thinking, I don't even know who created that statue. And I wonder if they're impacted by this or what their story is. And it turns out she has an amazing story. And I wrote about it. Should be in the Trib on Trib Live this weekend. That's my treat.
Did she also do Ralph Kiner's hands in the middle of left field?
Thing from the Addams Family? No, she didn't do that one.
Poor Ralph Kiner. Like, what did he have to do to at least get his face somewhere?
I know. It's just his hands like this or like this. Or
he's
something.
Holding a bat. Yeah, he's holding a bat.
It is. It's like that. It's like Thing from the Addams Family, the talking hand. It's unbelievable. You think someday somebody sculpts a toilet from the Steelers practice facility in tribute to Art?
Well, that's right. There's a statue of the Chief. Did she do the Chief? Or no, did she not do the Chief? I don't think she did that one. Chief.
She did Dr. Thomas Starzl over at Pitt.
Oh, okay.
He did an amazing, and we've all seen this one of the fallen canine hero, Rocco, over on the North Shore where it's Rocco and a policeman, overlooking.
Right by what Bettis's Grill was.
Right.
Yeah.
She's amazing, man. So I hope people read that and enjoy that.
I was going to say they could have, I think the next statue that the Steelers will put up will probably be Dan. So just in generationally, you could do the Chief, Dan, and then a toilet for our second. A urinal. They don't have enough of those around the stadium either. So people could actually use it.
In Buffalo, they used to just have like tin troughs, like we were animals walking up to take a piss at a Bills game.
That's like Three River Stadium used to be. Sure. The Carrier Dome was like that until like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Like we were all cows or something.
Before we go, Joe, Friday free-for-all. I have to ask you this question because it was brought up to me during a Duquesne broadcast that I did this week when they lost against Davidson. My co-host, Ellis Cannon, my color commentator, my partner on the games, I asked him because the Duke's next game this weekend is against St. Louis, nationally ranked. They almost beat them the first time around. And it's the big donor trip out to St. Louis. And one of the things they're doing, I believe, is going up the arch. And Ellis told me he has never been so scared in all of his life, and he's not someone who's afraid of heights. So I was wondering if you've ever done that and if it's as scary as Ellis is making it out to be.
It's unbelievable that you've mentioned this, and we don't rehearse this show. God knows the first time I see you is on the set, and really it's the first time we talk other than you sending me the link.
And you calling me a prick.
What?
And you calling me a prick.
Yeah, usually, yeah. On your emails as well. Listen to this. I was just in Florida last weekend, golfing by myself. I went to a place called Tiburon. I always get matched up, obviously, with people I don't know. So I get matched up with a guy and his two sons, both of whom are rising hockey players in their mid-teens. They live in St. Louis. One of the first things I say to them is, this was 6 days ago, Tim. It's unbelievable that you just mentioned this. One of the first things I say to them is I visited St. Louis to cover the Penguins multiple times, and I went up in that arch one time, and it scared, am I allowed to say shit?
Sure.
The living shit out of me. I went up on a little compartment, like it was a roller coaster seat, and then you get to the top, you walk out, and it sways.
That's what Ellis said. That's the thing that made him nervous, was that it actually moves.
And all I wanted to do was go back down, except I was scared to go back down again. I get claustrophobic as I tell you this. It's crazy. Don't do it. Don't go up in the arch if you ever go to St. Louis.
Well, now I want to be scared. Now this has been built up in my head. I want to see if it's as bad as everybody makes it out to be. All right, Morty, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. What's your Friday free-for-all?
James Worthy, one of the greatest underrated dunkers of all time. I have a poster of him right over there that I just got from the baseball card castle, an autographed poster of James Worthy. I'll do it like this with his one-handed swooping flying dunk. God, I love that. And I have a book on the Showtime Lakers right over there by Jeff Pearlman. My all-time favorite team, I have to say, outside of Buffalo.
82 UNC versus Georgetown, the finals. The reason I'm a college basketball fan today.
Wow. I watched that at Pete Nussbaum's house. What a game. What a game.
Morty, appreciate it. We got to go. I got to go talk lacrosse. Are you a big lacrosse fan?
That's a fitting final statement. We got to go based on the Steelers toilet gate. See you, Tim.
This is Beyond the Bylines at Trib Live.